that is both tender and melancholic. The pictures he draws of his people remind you of James Agee in his Knoxville Summer 1915, that deliriously sweet portrait of a warm, slow summer evening. You feel that same sense of care and affection in Guy's work when he writes about his family. And like Agee, his prose rises to lyricism, and there is music on the page. And even when Guy is writing about subjects far from his family, about being stationed in Bosnia when he was in the army, about an ill-fated trip on foot across America, or about gambling in Mississippi, there is always something of that calm genuineness in his prose. I think this comes from character. It comes from craft, yes, to be sure, but while you can learn craft, you can't learn to be a big-hearted writer. You are like Guy Choate.
I'd like to say that these last 3 years have been awesome for me, and I've never been a part of a community like this program here at UNO. The Creative Writing Workshop has been a wonderful experience for me. And also, I've never used an iPad, so I feel really uncomfortable reading off of an iPad. But the library was closed, and the front desk at the Super 8 in Battery didn't know how to get the printer to work. So here we are. This is called But I Have an MFA. I can feel a human presence on my right. It's Walter, standing there with a large chef's knife, the blade of which is dripping water. Have they showed you how to clean the knives yet? He asked me. I don't think so, I say. Walter pulls a kitchen towel from his pocket and wipes the blade once hard. Just like that, he says with an all-knowing smile. That's all you have to do. Cool, I say. And then he walks his lanky 6'2" frame toward the knife magnet. I wish that was Walter's sense of humor on display, but it's not. Walter likes giving me information. He likes telling me exactly how to do things because while he's not my boss, he does have seniority on me. I haven't been here long in the Red Brick Hanover Tavern outside of Richmond, Virginia. The older crowd comes here for dinner and a show at the in-house theater, but in the kitchen, hidden away from everyone, Walter reminds me that I need to wash both sides of the sheet trays because the bottoms get greased up when they stack. One of the cooks asked Walter if he's found a house yet. There's one house in Hanover County that I can afford to buy on a 30-year mortgage with what I make here, he responds. It's a $49,000 house. The statement hits me hard from a couple of angles. The first hit comes as a reminder that I'm only making $8 an hour. The second hit comes upon the realization that over the previous 3 years, I've accumulated more in student loans than what it would take to buy a small house. And then, as my thoughts progress, it hurts to realize it would take me more than 30 years of washing dishes to pay off the debt I accrued in order to get my MFA in creative nonfiction writing. I try to stay positive by engaging the conversation. Are you buying a house, Walter? It's just for a school project. I find comfort in hearing that Walter is taking classes. Somehow him investing in education makes me feel better about my own investment, which is yet to pay dividends. Where are you in school? I ask. Hanover, he says. I'm new to this area where my girlfriend Liz grew up, and I don't know all the colleges yet. Of course, it crushes me when Walter explains to me that Hanover is not a community college at all, but rather a high school. When I can't remember where to put the clean bowls, Walter gives me a disappointed look. I don't know why it matters to me, but I want him to think I'm smart or cool. He doesn't. When I started looking for jobs, I focused on full-time editing gigs, but when I didn't get much response, which is to say I got absolutely no response, I began applying for proposal writing jobs, which were more plentiful. I wrote what I thought were some solid cover letters in response to jobs that required only a bachelor's degree. Some of those jobs would even let me substitute experience for the education requirements. However, I have both, and a master's degree to boot, but none of that seemed to matter. I was lucky to even get an email back from somewhere letting me know that the company had gone with another candidate. For a while, I focused on jobs that were committed to hiring veterans. A lot of governmental jobs will give preferential treatment to those of us with a military background, but apparently not me, despite spending my 21st birthday as a NATO peacekeeper in Bosnia. A friend put me in communication with one of the founders of a large .com in Richmond. However, the only opening they had at the time was for a marketing internship. I emailed back and forth with the founder, felt a connection, and then I swallowed my pride and said I'd like to apply for the internship. I never heard from him again. When I finally convinced myself I had the capacity to be a dog catcher in the neighboring county, I applied for that. No response. I applied for a part-time job running the Facebook page for a local Girl Scout troop. The application took a good 30 minutes, but I never heard a thin-minted word from her little My sister is a corporate recruiter, and she tells me my resume looks good and my cover letters are even better. I'm baffled as to why I haven't heard anything. Every few days I go back and look at the files I've sent potential employers. I double-click my resume, and a big part of me hopes that when it pops up, it's not my resume at all, but rather that picture Liz took of me sitting on a toilet someone placed on the curb to get picked up from their garbage on Dauphine. Had I accidentally sent the dozens of potential employers a picture of me pretending to defecate in the street, at least I would understand why I hadn't been granted a job. Instead, my resume pops up, and I'm left with no explanation. The guy who cut my hair the other day told me I can't find a job because of Obama. A lot of people tell me I can't get a job because I got a useless degree. A smarter demographic of people tell me I got a teaching degree, but I don't want to teach, and it's a strong possibility I'm just bad at it. I am eager to work. I am 31 years old, and I'm lucky enough to have been given a place to stay rent-free until I can get back on my feet. But I am 31 years old, and I am barefoot staring at a rocky mountain of debt that I have no choice but to try and climb. I am 31 years old, and for the first time in my life, I am questioning whether or not I am a man. Because I am 31 years old and sleeping on a bunk bed at my girlfriend's dad's house with no prospect of supporting myself, much less the children that I'd like to one day have. I know what you're thinking sitting there, listening to this, and you're thinking, all of this works conveniently well in a self-deprecating essay, but this guy's probably got some prospects in real life. And the reason I know you're thinking that is because I've thought it myself. In fact, I've thought of nothing else besides that for months. I'm 31 years old. I'm healthy. I'm educated. I'm well-traveled and well-read. I have good manners. My military record says I can follow orders without question, and my liberal arts education says that I can think for myself. I'm self-reflective. If you can get over me talking out of the side of my mouth, it's sometimes possible to I have dependable transportation. I'll organize the office March Madness pool. I'll chip in $5 to get Jenny from accounting a gift for her baby shower. I'm a fun person to have in the office, and I'll do whatever it takes to get hired, to get health insurance, to remember what it's like to experience the feeling of self-worth. You should try Capital One, a friend of a friend advises me one night. No shit, I think to myself. People who have jobs, people who don't turn down dinner invitations because they know they can't pay for dinner, this is how they think. They think this guy's unemployed and therefore must be an idiot. He obviously hasn't checked the largest holder of jobs in the area. Perhaps he's never heard of the Fortune 500. People with jobs must have this idea in their heads that I can just show up at the Capital One offices and Alec Baldwin will be there hanging out with an army of Vikings, all of whom are eager to give me one of the spare jobs lying around the premises. Liz, my girlfriend and aspiring counselor, comes home frustrated from work where she uses her degree in psychology to bring people the pasta they ordered. Someone has told her that she should give up waiting tables to be a teacher. As if I can just decide to be a teacher one day, she vents to me. She speaks with sarcasm. Oh yeah, thanks, I hadn't thought of that. I guess I'll start teaching tomorrow. People with jobs are oblivious to what it takes to find a career. They all know someone who makes really good money and loves his job doing something that I'd be really good at. Why stop at teaching, Liz says. Why don't they just tell me I should give up waiting tables to be an astronaut? They make good money. Taking the trash out at my dishwashing job, it's a long walk from the kitchen through the gravel parking lot to the dumpster. It feels good to get away from the sweaty sink. The fresh air is cold on my skin, and so I put on the sweatshirt that reads across the front, University of New Orleans, which is the school where I got my MFA in creative nonfiction writing. A car pulls into the parking lot right about the time a trash bag rips open to spill out a disgusting mixture of food onto the ground. I can make out the bones of a fried buttermilk chicken breast and a soggy dinner roll drenched in what I guess to be sheep crab soup. Without thinking about it, I drop all of the trash bags except the torn one, and I desperately try to balance it so that no more of its contents falls out before I get to the dumpster. On my way back to the other bags, I have my recurring daydream. Someone will see my sweatshirt with what a guy like you doing in a place like this. But strangers don't come up to dishwashers in the parking lots of restaurants and offer them jobs at the businesses they own in town. So I'll walk back to the kitchen and I stand over the sink full of mushroom gravy-stained saucepans, and I regret not going to school for something more useful like nursing or welding or maybe Lamaze. Except that I love to write. And no matter what job I end up working, I'll always be thankful to have acquired the skills my MFA in creative writing has given me. Because the 10 minutes it's taken me to read you what I wrote about my shitty job has made it worth having a shitty job in the first place. And there's something great